to boys hostel. There is no randomness. Whereas if you toss a coin, or if you appear in examination and if you want how many marks you will be getting, the marks ranging from 0 to 100. There are 101 possibilities, including the 0 mark. We are not guaranteeing what outcome you will be getting it. In that case, we want to study about some methods to quantify the chance of happening of a particular event. Quantify meaning is that give a number. Quantification. Suppose if we say that it is long distance from Karaikal to Chennai, people will ask them, I will ask you how many kilometers or how much time it will take. They need number. Then only they can understand. If I say you are overweight or underweight or you are very intelligent, then they'll ask you IQ. Always we need numbers to understand, I think, more properly. Even for earthquake, we have numbers, some Richter scale. And even for this weather prediction, suppose if some cyclone is approaching this region, the government will announce that. Say this is announcement category 4 or category 5. Some kind of numbers we need always. That kind of number we need using this mathematical ideas. Probability refers to subject as well as probability refers the number we are going to get. So you can think of this probability. Someone has needed to switch off their mic. I'm hearing my own voice. Wait a second. Okay. So, oh, sorry. Do you see the screen? Quick, these are easy questions.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Very good. So these are some standard experiments with no randomness. And this is a few random experiments which you mentioned. There is one other random experiment. Say you are throwing a coin and also you are throwing a die together. Okay. What will be the possible outcomes? Can someone speak about it? You are throwing a coin and also you are throwing a die. What are the possible outcomes? Quick.
So Cartesian product of the sample spaces both for tossing a coin and rolling a dice.
Okay. Then usually you are right, 100% right. So if I don't understand, I will ask you. If I means some students, if they may not follow, so give them some elements from there. Give some specific outcome. H1, H2, H3. Okay. What do you mean by H3? Head in the coin,
Head
in
in
the
the
die.
coin and 1 in the dice, 2 in the die.
Yeah. In this way. So whatever you said was very excellent. That also fine. These are the elements which are in that description, whatever you mentioned. Whether t comma 7 will be there. T comma 7.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Why?
7 is not a
Not in the die.
die.
7 is not in the die. So t comma 7 will t will be there, but say t comma 7 that will not be there. How many elements are there in the sample space? How many possible outcomes are there?
12.
So for coin we have only 2 possibility. Look at, let me write down here. For coin only 2 possibility, H or tail. And for these 6 possibilities. So here 2 meaning 1 plus 1. Here 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 6 times. I am using this R. Anybody remember whenever we have H or T, head is one possibility, tail is one possibility. Instead of instead of this R, I am using plus symbol. Anybody remember the rule name? What rule I am using? In combinatorics also we studied discrete mathematics, counting techniques. Sum rule. Here also sum rule, sum of the possibilities. Either this or that or the boy or girl. Then we have to add total number of boys and girls. What about this? Instead of this and I want to use 6. So what is the rule I am using here?
Product rule.
Product rule. First this event is happening, whatever I am crossing out, and then this event is happening. Sequential events. So 12 possibilities. So you can list them out. So randomness involved, but here you have 2 random experiments clubbed together. This also is part of probability that we call as joint probability. If you talk about probability for these kind of joint experiments, we call the probability as joint probability. We do not have that in our syllabus. Let us fix a single random experiment. We shall talk about finding probability for that. And various random experiments, very good. These things we have seen. There are various possible events you can write. You can arbitrarily write without a pattern also you can write. Suppose if I am writing E5 is no pattern, simply I am writing 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6 also. This is also an event. How do we define that? After writing the outcomes we need, we can describe. Event 5 is getting other than 5. These kind of descriptions we can give. What is 2 power 6 number value? 2 power 5 is 32. So there are 64 events you can write for this throwing a die. This is also fine. Yeah. This R stands for random experiment. This is set of all possible outcomes. And this is some event we define. Then we can talk about the probability. That number is this ratio. This N of E is always less than or equal to N of S. The reason why? Can somebody tell me why this is happening? I am saying this. N of A is always less than or equal to N of S. Why this is happening? Can somebody tell me? Number of elements in the desired event cannot exceed the number of elements in sample space. Can someone tell me why?
Because event will always be a subset of sample.
Event is subset of the sample space set. Very good. So this number of elements are always less than or equal to this number of elements in S. Okay, and so that's why we are writing this number cannot be more than 1. It must be less than or equal to 1. N of E sometimes can be 0 also. Okay. So what actually we do is we are talking about this is happening, number of elements in this is happening. If I divide N of S always in all the terms, meaning it must be non-zero, of course, then I shall be having 0 less than or equal to probability of E less than or equal to 1, which I am having here. This is mathematical definitions which you are familiar with so far. One more definition we give: frequency definition or statistical definition or posteriori definition. We repeat the experiment again and again. We record the outcomes and we check how many times favorable outcome has occurred out of these many trials. This is a property of that experiment. That's okay. Another, based on these things, we write axiomatic definition. Meaning, we need a number, a real number, of course, not full number. It may be real number. We know that that number is between 0 and 1. Okay. a number satisfying these properties. We are mutually exclusive and mutually exhaustive. Two type of events we give. Someone try example for mutually exclusive events. Any example, maybe physical example or a real life example or mathematical example, whatever it is. Mutually exclusive events. We want two terms. Whenever we write events, then we can talk about mutually exclusive events. I'll tell you what is mutually exclusive event. Mutually exclusive events is that you should have 2-3 events. If one of them happens, it is preventing the others from happening, meaning they cannot happen simultaneously. Here we have written mutually exclusive cannot happen simultaneously. It may be odd number or it may be even number. Okay, they cannot happen simultaneously. And in addition, if you take union of all these events, if you get the entire sample space, that we call as exhaustive events. Can somebody give example for these two? Any example other than the earlier one? Mutually exhaustive events. Somebody try. Any example is fine. We shall refine it if it is incorrect.
Picking up a random card from a deck of 52 cards.
Deck of
Mutually
52 cards.
exclusive.
Mutually exclusive. A random card, instead of that, you should specify 2 events to me. Then I will say that one is preventing the other. Mutually, you look at the plural, mutually exclusive events.
Getting 5 diamonds and 5 twos.
Getting 5 diamonds. Actually, you should talk about 2 events initially. Okay. Give me what is your first event and what is your second event. What is your random experiment? Once you say random experiment, I will write sample space. Okay, sample space I will write once you say the experiment. Okay. The remaining thing you have to tell me what is. Now tell me what is E1?
Getting diamond ace and 5 diamonds.
Getting diamond
Yes.
Okay. This is okay. And
5 diamonds card.
Okay. That is your second event. Okay.
Yes,
Is
sir.
this getting in diamond class you need 5? Is that? How do we write it? Is this okay?
Yes, sir. Fine, sir.
Okay. Then that cannot happen simultaneously. One is preventing the other. Now, let us keep the same deck of cards. Give me some events. They should be not. They should not have anything in common. And if I take all the events together, I should get the entire sample space. Can somebody define such events? What are the class of cards we have? Like this diamond. What else is there? Somebody tell me.
Hearts, spades.
Wait a second. Let me write it down. Hearts.
Spades.
Wait a second. Okay. Heart symbol will be there. Okay. And this. Okay. Then. Proceed.
Clubs, diamonds.
In each class, how many cards will be there? In heart class, in heart category with the heart symbol. How many cards are there?
13.
13 cards are there. What are them?
Ace to 10 and king, queen,
Yes,
jack.
2, like this I should write.
Yes, sir. Ace to 10.
Okay, now my one event is getting a heart. It may be any of those 13 cards. My idea is getting a heart. Okay, I don't worry about what you are taking from this list. And E2 is getting a spade. E3, again the same list comes here also, okay? Getting a club. E4 is getting a diamond. Now I look at all these 4 events are mutually exclusive. Also, they do not have some anything in common, mutually exclusive events together, okay? This is the example. If I take all of them together, I am getting the entire possibilities. And another example I'll give you, whether all of you understand this.
Yes, sir.
I'll give another example. I'll tell you the situation. You tell me whether it is mutually exclusive or exhaustive. Let me consider select. We have 5 departments, of course. You know the list. So selecting a BTech student from our campus is my exact people for NSS, of course. So I am selecting computer science student. This is my first event, event 1. Another event, event 2 is selecting a civil engineering student. Now comment on these 2 events, E1 and E2. CSE
They,
students and civil students.
they are mutually exclusive.
They are mutually exclusive. Comment further. Only 2
They are,
definitions. They
they are
are.
not, they are not exhaustive. Because in BTech we have remaining departments like Triple E, ECE.
Some departments are already missed based on my E1 and E2. So that's not mutually exhaustive. Okay, in BTech students, I am considering event 1 as selecting a boy, event 2 selecting a girl. Now whether they are mutually exclusive,
Yes, sir.
whether they are mutually exhaustive.
Yes, sir.
So these are some special type of events. We shall look at the basic problems in probability. Our idea in this unit is find probability. Let us consider few simple problems first. Okay. Toss a coin twice. Write down the sample space. Find the probability for getting exactly one head. 2 problems I have given. Okay. Toss a coin twice. Write down the sample space. Even though I am saying sample space, it is actually sample set of outcomes. Right? Sample space is technical term. Should not be taken as English meaning. Write down the sample space. Find the probability. For getting exactly one head. So my random experiment, instead of that, I can use E also. That's okay. What is the sample space? Somebody tell me.
Head, tail, head, tail.
Some pattern you can maintain so that you will not miss any of these outcomes. So here the pattern he has maintained is reducing the number of hits. That's okay. So event E is defined as cutting exactly one head. Now I will be writing down what is event E then. Event E is having just I am going to list down exactly one head in the second outcome and in the fourth outcome. Now this probability for this event is number of elements in E, number of elements in the sample space. Here 2 elements, there are 4 elements. Is it okay? Simplest problem. Are you understanding this?
Yes, sir.
The same problem. Change the problem. Okay. Your choice. You can modify this. Erase this and that or change it into some other problem. Somebody suggest what can we do. Various possibilities are there. Any possibility you can take. Slightly modify this problem. I want to give different questions to different students. So I want a modification to the problem. Modify something, then we will attempt to solve. Quick.
At least one head.
At least one head. Where it is? Instead of this, you are saying at least one head. Then what is the probability? Probability for event E is at least one head. How many possibilities are there? Just to remember.
3.
3 are there. Okay. Out of the 4 cases, 3 are this. So simply you can write this answer for the problem is 3/4. The same problem I would like to modify further. As since you told me this, for getting exactly one head, you said I shall try to modify this problem. Okay. Exactly 0 head. What is the what is probability?
1/4.
There are 2 options or 2 ways to get this. You can simply check how many. This is the only one case where the 0 head is available. The remaining are having at least one head or 2 heads are there. So you can do one thing. These 2 problems are related. These 2 problems are related. In which way it is related? Is there any relationship between this first event and the second red color event and the green color event? Is there any relationship?
Both exclusive and exhaustive.
Both are exclusive and exhaustive. Okay. In that splitting, there are only 2 sets we are talking about. One set is at least one head. The other one is meaning in our BTech students example, mutually exclusive and exhaustive, we considered 5 departments. If I select all students in a particular department, say each department is referring on event, then I will say that E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, all of them are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. But we have 5 different events. Whereas if you consider the boys versus girls example, only two classes are there, either boy or a girl. Wo- one is, both are of course, E1 and E2 are mutually exclusive, exhaustive, but in both examples we have one slight difference. In my example, initially I gave E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, 5 different events which are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. In my second example, I gave E1 is boys, E2 is girls. Only two events which are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Is there any difference or any relationship between these two examples? Or do you see anything? How should we ask that? Yeah, my question is, if I give one set, can you find out the other? That's my question. Say in one example, I am giving all these events alphabetically. This is civil, computer science, EEE, ECE, EEE, mechanical. 5 departments are there. Each of them is referring, each letter, each event is referring, selecting a student from their department. Whereas these two are referring boys and girls. I am asking you, if I give any one of these, any one I am giving, can you find out the remaining, or can you find out the other sets? That's my question. Suppose here, if I give any one, can you find out can you identify the other set? Are you understanding the question? Here I am having this union is yes, and they have nothing in common. Here this union is yes, they have nothing in common. Since there are only two sets I am having, if you give me one set, say for example, if you give me this, I already have in my hand the list of BTech students. I can easily identify which students are belonging to this set. Are you understanding the difference? Suppose if you give me this and this, I cannot identify which student is belonging to civil engineering or mechanical engineering or EEE or ECE. If I have mutually exclusive and exhaustive, that's fine. But if only two sets are involved, what is the relationship between these two? That's my question. Only two sets are involved. Are you understanding this question? You need not know the answer. Just are you understanding this question?
Yes, sir.
If I give E1 and yes, how will you find out E2 in terms of set theory? Something like this. This is my total yes, and this is my E1. I'm asking about this. How will you find out what is the? Can you define this in terms of E1? Can you define the question mark, please, in terms of E1?
S minus E1.
Yes, set minus E1. This is E1 complement. Okay. The other half. It need not be the half. The other part, the other set is the complement of this, whatever we have in hand. This is what is happening here. Oh, where it is? Here it is. This event in red color is complement of this green color event, and vice versa. So if you need probability for these kind of things, say for example, if I say I am giving a random experiment, I am giving a sample space, and I am giving one event. And if I know the probability for that event. All these things, whatever I have written is similar to this red color. I have event, I know the probability. Now, I want a probability for E complement. Okay. It is 1 minus this probability. This is it. If you look at the earlier example, actually here I should write probability, then only it is correct. In the earlier example, P of E was 3/4. And in green color, we wanted probability of this E complement. It is 1 minus 3/4, which is 1/4. We need not do the problem again. We can simply use this result. What is the proof for this result? So first we should observe whatever we know already. We have one event. Union the complement is the sample space. And we have this event. Intersection this event, meaning they have nothing in common. And we observe that this, since this is complement to each other, we are having this. So we observe that E and E complement are mutually exclusive. All these things. And mutually exhaustive. These are our observation. If they are mutually exclusive, because of this, probability of E union, just I am writing down. I am writing down axiom 3, I think. Where it is. Two events are mutually exclusive, then probability for their union is sum of the probabilities. Instead of E1, E2, we have E and E complement. That I'll write. This I will be writing. Okay. According to axiom 3. So because of this mutually exclusive, we can write the probability of the union is equal to probability of this event plus probability of the next event. Actually, whenever we write like this, we should give the reason for writing also. The reason is that axiom 3. That's it. And the left side, we are having probability of E union E complement is S. So we have probability of S is probability of E plus probability of E complement. The reason is that E union E complement is S. Just we have written in the leftmost place. Probability of S equal to 1. Why do we write this? What is the reason? Can somebody tell me? Right side I am not changing. You could see that. Only the left side I change. What is the reason for this?
Since event is the sample space itself.
Yes, axiom 2 says probability of sample space is 1. This property we have mentioned. Okay. You are right. Based on that, we have written that already in the second axiom in the axiomatic definition that I use. Then probability of E complement is 1 minus probability of E. Even if you don't know this result, you can compute the probability like this directly. Is it fine? One more problem we will do. This is just a result. This is a theorem. One more problem we will do. Okay. Another problem. Suppose if a bag contains few products, the few products, say for example, contains 10 good products and 4 with minor defects and 2 with major defects. Let's see it. The products or items or articles, whatever terminology you can use, the products are chosen. From the bag, of course, from the bag we mentioned, from the bag at random. Randomly we choose without replacing, of course. This is the experiment. How many we choose that I have not yet mentioned so far. Maybe 2 products we shall choose. Maybe that I will mention here. 2 products are chosen from the bag at random without replacement. My question is find the probability for both are good. Both products are good. Okay, my question is, what are the possibilities to choose 2 products from the bag? How many products are there in total?
3.
Quick. 3 categories are there. Imagine that 10 red color balls, 4 blue color balls, 2 green color balls, kind of that. How many balls are there? The same question I am asking.
16.
16 products are there. They are categorized, of course, but imagine 16 balls in 3 categories, or 16 notebooks, or 16 students. 10 students from ECE, 10 students from computer science, 4 students from computer science, 2 from chemical engineering or something. I want to select 2 students. There are 16 students. They study different subject, that comes later. But I am randomly choosing 2 of them. So the total possibilities 16 C2. Are you understanding this? The 16 C2 is the probability, is possible selections among all these people, all these products. Now comes the question, both are good. Okay, maybe I should write. Both are good means from this category we have to select from this 10. So the total possibilities are 16 C2. I need both are good. So I need among these 10 I should choose 2. Are you understanding this?
Yes, sir.
This is the simplest question. Both articles are good, meaning you have to choose the 2 from this. This numerator is the desirable number of possibilities. The denominator is the total number of possibilities. The same question we shall change further. Someone change the question of your choice. Let us keep this number instead of this. Both are good. We shall change the terminology. Tell me something here. Only two balls are chosen. Two products are chosen. Find the probability for. Give some conditions on these two products. Somebody try here. Anything you can try. I will answer the question. Okay.
A product with at least one defect product.
Minor defect or major defect. Okay. We will say at least one defect. He did not mention minor defect or major defect. So we need to consider both. Okay. At least one defect, what does it mean? It means two cases. It means one defect or two defects. Because he said at least one defect. So these are two possibilities for me. I can select one defect. What do I mean by one defect? It means one defect and one good. This is one possibility. First I am explaining the descriptions. Okay. Two defects, I have no role. Okay, both are defects. One defect, two defects, three defects I cannot have because I am choosing only two products. in this also, okay, here I should not forget this R. So this R symbol comes here. This and symbol comes there. Some other color. Okay. This is are you understanding? I'm having no other way. Instead of this, I'm having explaining. One defect means one is defect, the other one is not defected. It is good. Now first let me write down these two defects case. I have 16 C2 selection possibilities. Out of that, both must be defect, meaning it may be minor defect or major defect. Out of these 6, I want to choose 2. Then only both will be defected. Instead of this R symbol, I can write this addition. Here also, I have the total possibility 16 C2. One defect. Out of these 4 minor defect, 2 major defect, I have to select 1. That is the first thing, 6C1. Instead of and symbol, I'm writing multiplication. It must be properly written. Sorry. And one good. Out of these 10, I should get one good. That's it. So the answer is both the product rule and sum rule we have used. The green color letters are referring the sum rule places. This color, what color it is? Some dull blue color is referring the multiplication rule place. Are you understanding this? So first point is, whenever you have event description, first understand what it is. Ask question. What are the selections satisfy this condition? Once you say at least one defect, you should realize, yes, there are two possibilities. It may be one defect or both defect. This R is introduced here. Then what do you mean by one defect? Already we want two products to be selected. One defect refers, one is defect, the other one is non-defect, meaning it is good. Or if people are following this.
Yes, sir.
Someone speak. So, so whatever we studied in the previous course, counting techniques are like building blocks. We are using that combinations, unordered selection, of course, and the product rule, sum rule in this course also. And again, this is a kind of building block. If you look at our syllabus, this is just introduction to probability. Meaning they assume that the syllabus is assuming that you are familiar with this already. Maybe I shall send you some more problems to practice. We are interested in probability distribution, binomial distribution, Poisson, uniform, exponential, normal. Some of you must have seen these things already. We will revisit with more insights. That's it. Even all the syllabus, like even in the previous course also, you have already encountered all those things. But we shed some new light on it. We enhance our understanding. Maybe at this point we shall stop. It's time. You may be having some other class now. If you have any questions, you can ask me.